Hey everybody. So as promised in the last video, um, as I'd mentioned, there wasn't a lot of people when they got their Carcano carbines there wasn't a lot that really did a tear down. So I was curious to see, well, it looks this good above the wood line. I wonder what it looks like under the wood line. So we're just going to get right into it. What I've done is I tore both of them down prior to starting this video. So I'm just going to show you the condition of each of them underneath the wood line and then a little bit more detail as far as the stocks so you can see, you know, I guess what's below the surface. Um, so if you decide to get one of these, you can make a better informed decision about what it is you want to get. So without further ado, this was the very good condition pre 1918 Cavalry carbine. Um, so here we go. Um, this was the one you guys saw in a previous video that had the really bad split in the stock, and it had at least I would say, rather poor repair job. However, it was repaired. Let's see if I can show this. You guys may not be able to see it. I apologize. This chip here, this crack that runs this way, it looks like it goes down about a quarter of an inch before it gets to this steel sleeve where the rear screw passes through. So I mean, this crack is not all the way through the stock. That's a good thing. Um, Additionally, I took a closer look. There's no splits right here between the front of the magazine housing and this lug, which is very good. I did notice there's a small little hairline crack right here. Um, if I pull it, it will open up a little bit. So I mean, I guess if all else fails, if this does chip off, I can glue it back. No issues. Um, Looking at the butt pad, it's actually got some really cool markings right here. Looks like something AG. As you can see with a lot of these older rifles, the wood starts to recede from the butt plate a decent amount. I see that in a lot of them. I don't think it's any real issue. Um, just taking a quick look at the underside. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as anything majorly wrong with it. So I still think the stock is good. I'm still going to keep it on here. Number one, because of the cool cartouche in it. Number two, because it was numbers matched to the rifle. So I pretty much made that decision. I'm going to keep it the way it is. So moving along the um, to the trigger guard magazine housing. This one, you guys may not be able to see it. I apologize. It's got a little bit of surface rust here. It's also got a little bit of surface rust along where the wood line was. You got a little bit of surface rust where the screw rests in here on both the front and back. A little bit on the bottom. Once again, a little bit along the wood line, but no major heavy pitting or anything like that. As I stated, there's also a little bit here, a little bit here. But, honestly, as I stated in my previous videos, this will clean up very easily with some steel wool and Vaseline or steel wool and oil, whatever you guys like. Make sure, obviously, it's the 4-aught, the 4 zeros. So the finer the possible so that you don't damage your blued finish here. You want to retain as much of that as possible. Anyway, so looking at all the screws, the screws generally look good. No major rust, maybe a tiny amount of surface rust. However, I will note on the screw for this end cap, you'll notice about halfway up the threads, they're kind of flattened out. I don't know why that is. It's actually the same case on both of these rifles. Now, all these screws they weren't really tight. I mean, they're actually really easy to get out with just a screwdriver. So they didn't have a gorilla grip going on or anything like that. So I don't know what the story is behind that. So I got a closer look at the upper handguard on this one. You will notice there is a split right down the middle. Now this wood right here is paper thin. I think that's just the way these things were made. Now, if I'm really concerned about it, I can always pull it apart, squirt some glue in there, and let it go back together. I still think it'll be just fine. You know, this one's not going to be my everyday shooter. All right. So, what you guys really care about? Um, the action assembly. Um, as you can see, there's a little bit of rust back here. Generally, it's just kind of gunky. No real rust to speak of. A little bit of surface rust here. Um, you know, you can kind of see a little bit of patina slash surface rust here. I'm not real concerned about it. Now, one cool thing I noticed about this is, and I don't know what this means, you guys may know a lot more about these than I do. So I've got a letter Q 8077 here on the receiver, and then I've also got a letter Q 8077 on the barrel. I don't have a clue what that means, but it looks like it's matched. Looks like it's original. And then of course my serial number is this 9547 on the top. So I don't know enough about Carcanos to say why this is the way this is. I don't know. Anybody that's a little bit smarter on this or a little bit more well versed in Italian rifles, let me know. Comment below. Tell me about it. I'd love to hear from you. But it looks great. I mean, I don't see any major issues. So let me set this aside and we'll get the other one. Sorry, I don't have much table space here, so kind of just reaching and grabbing. All right, so this was the one that was very good to excellent. I told you guys before, it had a lot more dings in the stock, but in certain areas it actually looked better than the other one. So anyway, here it is. I don't know how well you guys can see in the channel. There's no splits on this side. However, you can see that on the front side there is a small hairline crack that runs from the front of the magazine housing here or action inlet to this lug. Now if you flip it over, it appears that this hairline crack may run all the way through, but you know, it's still pretty well together. I mean, I'm not overly concerned about it, to be honest. You know, these rifles, they don't have a lot of recoil. It's not a heavy punishing round, so I'm not overly concerned about it. I think it'll be fine. Looking at the upper handguard, this one actually has a little bit more meat on the rear. Like when you compare these, you know, this one's missing a little bit more. I don't know if that chipped out during assembly or carrying it or what, but you guys can see a noticeable difference. But this one here, there's no cracks whatsoever. It's in great shape, really is. Let's see. Moving to the trigger guard and magazine housing. I actually didn't see hardly any rust on it whatsoever. There is some cosmoline on it, but you know, all in all, it's actually got less rust than the other one. But it doesn't, I mean, it looks fine. I don't see any issues there. The screws, like I mentioned on the last one, screws came out very easily. Once again, it almost looks like the threads were kind of rounded off about halfway, well, from the end to about halfway up. And like I said again, I don't know if that's got something to do with these retaining caps. I don't have a clue. I will say this, this screw head for the retaining cap was a little bit more rough, but I was still able to get it out just fine. Once again, they weren't tight. They were very easy to get out. To the barreled action, there is a little bit of rust here, but I think a lot of it's kind of mixed with cosmoline. There's a lot of just looks like some lint and possible hair or something in there. I don't know what that. Yeah, that looks like somebody's hair. Anyway, oh, the things you find. But I think it'll clean up just fine. I mean, I don't see any major issues with this. Now, one interesting thing I noticed with this action, and I don't know if you guys can see it, But there's a number 9, then there's 15, and then there's the letters MG in a rectangular stamp here. Now, being the fact that this receiver was really nicely blued finish, I'm wondering if this barrel, if it was rebarreled at some point. Like if maybe this was a 1915 receiver and then it got like a 1918 barrel. I don't know. Honestly, I just don't know enough about these rifles, and I've just not taken the time to do the research yet. But this was the one with the 3121, and this receiver has a 15 on it. That's all I know. You know, it looks really good. You know, I don't see any. There's actually almost no rust on this one at all. So man, it looks great. Got some interesting marks and proof marks and all kinds of neat stuff on there. But you know, once again, you know, like I said, I just wanted to show you guys the condition under the wood of these, because there weren't a lot of videos out there where people really tore them down. You know, as I stated previously, the one you just saw was the very good to excellent. The one up here was the very good, pre-1918. This one's a 1917. This one's a 1918. Take it for what it's worth. This is what they look like. And you guys saw pictures of the bores. The bores look excellent. So there you have it. Hopefully this will help you guys make an informed decision about whether or not you want to get any. You know, it is hard to find this ammo. To the best of my knowledge, there's only 2 manufacturers currently making it and selling it. One is Steinel, which you can find those guys online, and then the other one is PPU. You can find the PPU ammo right now through J&G Sales, but you will pay heavily for it. Actually, you'll pay heavily for either one of them. They run about $40 to $45 for a box of 20. So that's the unfortunate aspect, but these really are some sweet little carbines. I actually have a CZ 527 that's a 7.62 by 39 carbine, and this is comparable in size. I mean, it's so small. Actually, my CZ is probably a little bit longer. I think it's got a 20-inch barrel, or no, 18-inch barrel. But these are excellent little carbines, and I mean, for the condition, for the age, everything, the price, I think it's a great deal. So if you guys like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, share it with your friends. I'll keep trying to churn out more content like this, and until next time, you guys have a great day, and wish you all a Merry Christmas since it's upon us, and spend some time with your family. That's what the holidays are all about. You guys take care. Have a great day. Thanks.